So I think it's the first panel I've ever been involved in where we have two people in the flesh and someone joining by Zoom. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is going to be fun. Thank you all so much for being part of today's panel. A lot to discuss in the world of tech and AI. And if I can kick off with you, Ustad Nabil, as Vice Governor of Saudi's Digital Government Authority, you're obviously quite mindful of the risk elements of AI development. Question is, how do we safeguard its development to ensure that we are prioritizing the positive outcomes that can come out of the world of AI?
First of all, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and thank you so much for this opportunity. And let me put it in different paradigm. You know, the risk management is more, or the risks that we could face from the AI, we should think it as opportunity and how we can leverage from the AI. I will take the quote mentioned in the morning of one of those sessions. AI is about the efficiency. Yes, we are the people who build from innovative point of view. What are the services that we could use and leverage from AI on that part? AI gives us the efficiency where we go for a bigger landscape of managing that part. However, in each risk that we will see an opportunity that we can use definitely in order to leverage up the benefits that we could have for the organization. As we see in the government, we are investing heavily on building the strategy of the AI, and we put it in the 3 milestones. The first milestone, from risk point of view, that we need to think about is to build the capabilities. And the capabilities mean building the infrastructure, building the know-how, in order to assure that we manage the risks that we could face from the bias that we could have on the algorithm that we put in the AI, which may lead us to wrong decision-making at the end. So how are we going to manage that? How to assure that we have the human factor in place, where we need to question any answers that we could receive from any AI solution, and we need to analyze, is that the right direction that we to do in place? The second part is to put the priority of main 5 pillars that we need to focus on: health, education, transportation and logistics, and government services, and all those kind of things that we need to invest heavily in terms of the AI. The third stage, where we will go exponentially, where we will go heavily on to be a pioneer in the world in building the AI. This should be built on the risk-based part, and the priority should be more in localizing the knowledge and localizing the content, because we and our national young people that we have in place, they are the best to know what the things that we need to do that benefits our ecosystem in place and benefit the world, inshallah.
Thank you for that. Tareq, you're renowned within the industry for your bold approach in revolutionizing markets, disruptive technologies. In your most ambitious and optimistic moments, how would you like to picture the positive effects of AI on society in general?
Great question. First of all, good afternoon, everybody. It's amazing to be here with everyone to talk about such an important topic. Maybe before I answer, I just want to give everybody the life journey that I've been through, because it really addresses the heart of this technology transformation that we're embarking on. I would say, generally, I've been really blessed to experience not just only successes, but really many failures that made me who I am today in my professional life. Moving from Jordan to US, from US to India to build a new digital platform company, from India to Japan to here. You know, one thing I've learned is how inquisitive we are as humans. You know, we're always looking at new things, new explorations, new opportunities to invent. You know, if you really track from the early 1800s when telephony was invented, to computers, to internet, to new age industrial revolution, we've witnessed amazing progress in technology. But I must tell you, nothing is compared to what we are going through now. So the introduction of AI in our life, whether you are in consumer world, business, or anything that you do day to day, no doubt the world is changing. And the one thing I will tell you is the pace of innovation and the pace of advancements in this technology is absolutely mind-boggling. It is happening at a pace that I have not witnessed at any time before. The amount of investments that private companies are putting, both public side, government side, it shows clearly we have really discovered a great opportunity. Me personally, I'm excited to see what AI is doing in our line of business. So I moved to Saudi Arabia to hit up a new startup that is owned 100% by Aramco Digital. We have a clear vision that we really want to be in the forefront of digital transformation to enable societies and businesses to leverage this technology. So when this vision was established, we thought about, okay, well, what are the really enabling pillars that we need? So we looked at really 3 fundamental areas that were really critical that linked our approach in Aramco Digital with what's happening largely with 2030 Saudi vision as well. And the first thing that came about us is to really understand that we first must build the AI digital infrastructure that is needed. Something that is really, really critical for our mission to democratize AI and its usage and deliver the benefits to both societies and businesses. And the second big thing is really important and to the heart, and for me personally, really to see the localization of content. I have really been extremely shocked of what I saw in Saudi Arabia. The level of knowledge and the level of education that exists here really surprised me. I mean, this is the first time I lived in this region in a long time, and especially around seeing the new generation and their ability to really embrace this new technology. I was extremely happy to see that we have a great foundation to build upon. So local knowledge development, local IP, local product development, and that should all help into the aid of driving the digital strategy in the kingdom. And so when you look at AI, I think you look at it from 2 points of view. One, people would say, well, look, it's a pessimistic view and the world is going to collapse and we're going to lose all the jobs. Or you could look at it from the other point of view, which is what I highlighted earlier, we as human beings, being inquisitive, being innovative, driving new discovery of new areas of opportunities where we could find value and coexistence with this new platform. So think about the things that comes to my top of mind. If you have kids today and they're going to school, how we teach our kids today is you have in most places across the world, you see that education is one to many. So and sometimes, just because of the number of students to a teacher does not allow the teacher to deliver on personalization of content to the student. The teacher is able now, with new AI platform, to really start to think about the concept of personalization. An AI that really understands a student's behavior, personality, strengths, weaknesses, to deliver their likes. I think this is a great thing. Think about medicine. Today most of what we go through is very reactive. I get a symptom, then I go to the doctor. What happens if AI aids us to change this paradigm, to go from reactive approach to predictable approach by early diagnostics? I think that's also a really good thing. And top of mind of the world, not just locally here, is sustainability. And AI could help you really utilize your resources in a much more effective way. So in general, my point of view, AI is not a tool. That's really important. AI now, to me, is your digital companion. And it is here now, and it's going to evolve. And our ability to coexist with it is important. But it's also really important to understand the ethics and the development that we have to do and the responsibility that we need to take, all of us as private citizens, government, and enterprises, to ensure that this new idea is evolving in a way that delivers on the promise. So I'm really optimistic about the future that we're in. We're in early days, but it's definitely going to be a game changer on bringing advancements to society and a lot of help that it will do in both the business side as well as the consumer side.
Interesting note on medicine, where we could potentially one day live in a world where you take a pre-medicine so that you don't get the symptoms. That's something that could
Absolutely.
potentially be a reality?
It's 100%. I mean, just think about it. I'll give you very simple. Today, if you look at, when we talk about the digital divide, we have many places in the world today that don't have the basic of the basic of the basic, which is access to doctors. Now, what happens now if you really have a very predictable way where you could just use your computer or your phone camera to predict, let's say, a skin condition, to analyze it, and then automatically a prescription of medicine is delivered to you before a problem could happen. So I think the advancements on discovery around medicine is already here and today. And you'll see a huge opportunity now to address health and wellness. And this is one particular domain I'm really, really excited about.
Yeah. Interesting. Mr. Bilal, you can hear me, yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. So the ITU is a specialized agency of the United Nations responsible for coordinating global telecom and ICT standards. Why is regulation preferable or even necessary, would you say, when it comes to ensuring AI in the greater good of humanity, or for the greater good of humanity?
Great. Thank you very much for the opportunity to join you and for the question. As you said, the ITU is the United Nations Specialized Agency for Information and Communication Technologies. We have just celebrated last Friday 159 years of existence. The ITU was set up to really set up international standards for telegraph, and has evolved in its mandate and mission to the artificial intelligence of today. Artificial intelligence governance and guardrails cannot be really implemented without international standards. The governance and guardrails are usually policy directions on how AI could safely be used. And in order to implement that, we need international standards. So since 2017, the ITU has embarked on a new platform called the AI for Good Summit. And way before ChatGPT made AI a topic of discussion, a household topic of discussion. And our view was that AI is an incredible tool in terms of accelerating the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. And in doing so, we brought a unique platform of dialogue among the private sector, the governments, the universities, civil society, really all the stakeholders around the AI conversation, to determine what are the areas where AI could help the most in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. To be more concrete, and I pick up on the example that Tareq Amin just gave on the use of AI for health. In 2018, we launched a collaboration with the World Health Organization, WHO, which is another UN agency here in Geneva, on the use of artificial intelligence for health. And a focus group composed of doctors and technology experts have been working since then, since 2018, on benchmarking those applications that Tareq mentioned in terms of being able to diagnose certain diseases using your smartphone. That focus group developed 35 technical reports and specifications on AI, the ethical use of AI for healthcare, on the regulation of using AI for healthcare, on a number of use cases, various diseases where AI could be used in health. And then the bulk of the work, being a technical agency, is a number of standards on the data acquisition when it comes to AI for health, on the data management and processing, on the use of test data to benchmark the algorithms. And that process was quite inclusive and quite broad internationally to ensure that those solutions are not only applicable in one developed country of the world, but is really applicable in many developing countries around the world. So that's a concrete example of how standards help in the implementation of AI within a regulatory framework framework of ethical use of data and acquisition of data, and with a framework that really ensures that the applications of AI for health are benchmarked according to the medical regulation and the medical guidelines and the medical standards of practicing doctors.
Thank you for that, Bilal. Nabil, if I can go back to you and bringing things back locally for a second. The roadmap for the country's agenda for data and AI, the immediate term has been focused on addressing Saudi Arabia's urgent needs in line with Vision 2030. Can you tell us what those urgent needs look like and how have they been addressed to benefit both general and digital well-being?
I think the main direction of the government in that part was to focus on what is the essence of the problems and challenges that we face and how we gonna use the AI or any emerging technology in order to move forward about resolving that part. I think healthcare is one of the top priority part because this will have the implication of reducing the waiting line of the patients to seeing the appointment of the doctors and going even more further about how to assure that we have the accessibility for the specialist on the patient in different city without getting the hassles of the travel. As well, education is very important part because now I can put it in this way, AI is coming and students and the young generation are the early people that go use this technology heavily. So we need to intervene in that part to assure that we have, I'm not saying that put controls, but at least make sure that the deviation of this technology is going to the secure and safety for the student at the end of the day. So education is a very important part on that part. Digital government services, which is the main pillar that we need to focus on going forward. And let me give an example. We are working on something called the whole of government, where we are dreaming to reach to the point that we have one super app that all government services that you will have there. And that super app, it will be customized based on each individual about how he used that application and how what type of the services that he's gonna use at that part. But not only that, we need also to have the focus about what will be, let's say, and we were just talking in the backstage about that with Tareq about what type of risk intelligence that we could have in place. So for instance, we could have some incident geopolitically, and that geopolitical incident in our region could have a ripple effect on many services that we have within the government, not only digital government, even the private sector. So how we make sure that we use the AI to give us that early indicators by analyzing that trends and where we are going to manage about that risk proactively. So we are moving from detection phase up to proactively, where we proactively manage that risk about that part. Yeah. I think the transport and logistics, there is a huge opportunity, and it's enabling the industrial sector, because industrial sector definitely, they are talking about minimizing the cost in order to have the competitional prices about the local products. You cannot do that if you don't have a proper data source in place and a proper algorithm that know what is the problem that you need to solve and how to assure that all those capabilities are in place to give you a proper data analysis that support your decision making. Definitely you cannot do it by manual because there is a mass number of data, a mass number of changes and uncertainties that you need to manage in place. But sometimes small tweaks here and there, it can make a big bang for you in terms of the final product that you are giving. So AI is an area that we can focus in the transport and logistics, And this is one of the main pillar of Vision 2030, where His Excellency is focusing mainly on building that part and to make sure that Saudi Arabia is becoming the heart of the logistics of the whole region, connecting Asia with Europe and Africa and the rest of the world.
On the subject of transportation, and as a testament to how advanced Saudi Arabia is and all the efforts that have gone into the digitalization, I was watching a podcast where 2 or 3 American gentlemen were like, by the way, in Saudi Arabia, when you get a traffic fine or a speeding ticket, you get a message on your phone. They couldn't believe it. The guy who was telling the story, the other 2, they were like, impossible, you get a message on your phone. But I think that shows you how far along we are, that even in the US, I think speeding tickets are still paper, where if we go too fast within seconds, we get a few messages. How do you, Tareq, react to the efforts, the investments that the country is putting towards AI? With what you do, obviously, bridging the digital divide gap is something that is very high on your priorities list. So when you hear the government investing and the efforts that go into it, how does that make you feel in your world?
Yeah, I mean, I think just to give you some perspective, so in my previous roles, I had the opportunity to meet quite a bit of government officials. And one thing that was really captivating for me here is the linkage between what I saw with ministers and ministries and society is just incredible. I mean, just think about when I talk about, I read about what is called Vision 2030 before coming here. But when the whole society is involved into a grand objective that really has a significant impact on improving life, diversifying the economy, improving society, and advancing the kingdom cause, it is very, very clear that the government is thinking in the right direction. And it was important, as I was thinking about Aramco Digital, there is no logic to build the company without understanding the intersection between what is happening also in the government sector. It's really, really important that there is a clear alignment, clear objective. It makes life a lot easier to execute on the mission in hand. And so when you talk to my team, I said, we have really 3 main objectives we have to do and we have to address. So we all get really maybe captivated in the early days when OpenAI did ChatGPT. But if you break this down to say what is needed for AI to really function and work and for innovation to come on top of the platforms. So the first thing that we're focused on in Aramco Digital, I call it building the AI digital infrastructure. So allow me to elaborate on this because it's really important. If you go back in history and you talk about the impact that cloud computing had on enterprises, across the world there is a significant implications to the advancements of enterprises, application, and innovation when cloud computing came in. Now, AI needs these high performance compute. And I'm sure all of you have heard about these advanced chipsets requirement that is needed to run AI workload, regardless whether it is OpenAI or other large language models. So in the kingdom, the focus is we need to build a green, carbon footprint-free data centers. You need to start with this, because without having this infrastructure, that desire to advance in AI will not happen. Once you build a data center with the right power capacity, the right sustainability, you need to make sure they have state-of-the-art connectivity. And so once you have that, you need to ensure that you have these advanced chipsets that are needed to offer to society in the kingdom what we call AI infrastructure as a service. So to give access to anybody that wants to build application, develop local content to ignite this transformation or evolution. So this is the infrastructure that we cannot ignore. So without this being in place and without being here, I would say we'll be really challenged to see how AI could take off at the local level here. I'm talking about entrepreneurship, enterprises, government, to achieve their objective. Now, the good news is there is no doubt what I see at a large kingdom initiative is to push this agenda. At Aramco Digital, we have 100% alignment with this approach. Once you have this infrastructure, then the second cool thing happened, developing the intelligence layer. I mean, I'll tell you an example. We were talking about it that I have not really yet announced officially, but I'll tell you today what we're excited about. So for the last 9 months, within Saudi Arabia, our team has been creating a new operating system. This is really unique. The world have seen what is called large language model. We want to define a new large language user interface. So a platform we call NeuroOS, where a prompt is the only thing you need to access your enterprise application. Anything that comes on your mind, regardless whether you use it for HR, finance, legal, operation, managing your infrastructure. We are very, very excited to see this. And we were only be able to do this largely because we have invested very heavily on the underlying infrastructure, our cloud environment, and the partnership that we have done, not just with local company, but global hyperscalers as well. So NeuroOS, I think, will be a game changer in our view because I really love the idea that was locally developed. That is really a big departure in thinking. It is the new enterprise, new generation operating system, AI-powered with action models that links to all the underlying systems of record. And then last but not least, this is where we say as a society and enterprises is really enabling the market. Once you have all these 3 layers built, I think you're going to see a significant advancements on a bigger world where we truly have democratized AI. And then you created a bit of equality. So when we talk about digital divide, if you don't have these layers available, I think we will always be struggling in certain countries where they have access to these advanced chipsets and certain countries that cannot yet obtain these chipsets. That will always be, to me, the hindering to see the democratization of AI, and hopefully that's something that I see in Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of great effort to address the AI digital infrastructure requirement.
It's really good to hear that investments have been made on both the front end and the back end.
Correct.
To ensure an infrastructure that can rival any market in the world. Mr. Bilal, a question about the pace of AI development and how it can make things tricky for regulators. Generally speaking, how do we develop equitable regulation at the rate that we are progressing, but at the same time not affecting or hindering innovation?
Great question. I think the European Act that was published just a few weeks ago, is an example of an act that is trying to govern without necessarily hindering innovation. It was based on, it's a risk-based approach. So the European Union Act was really trying to identify the areas that are unacceptable risk, high risk, limited risk, minimal risk, so that the regulation and the governance could be geared towards those areas of high risk, and then leaving some of the lower risk areas for more broader open innovation. That's generally a track that a trend that we see in many other areas of the world, in the US, in China, in India and others. And what we are trying to do to really harmonize this regulatory space and allow it to keep pace with technology innovation. And next week at our AI for Good Summit, we're hosting the first AI governance day in the world with about 60, 70 ministers, regulators, C-level of companies, UN agencies, civil society, for a morning session where there will be roundtables of discussion around the governance of AI, the regulation of AI, and how technology is rapidly changing, and how the regulation needs to allow for that rapid pace of movement on technology. And then we'll have in the afternoon a readout of the AI Governance Day on the 29th to the general public, to the media, etc. Those are really some of the efforts that we are trying to have here in the ITU. And of course, throughout the process of standards development, there is a lot of discussion and development of glossary of terms, because AI is inevitably interdisciplinary. So, for example, we talked today about AI for health. It brings doctors and technologists. There is the application of AI for agriculture, where we're using IoT and data to optimize the crop production. There is the use of AI for natural disaster management and hazards management. AI for transportation. In fact, last time I was in Dammam was in December, attending the 6th International Traffic Safety Conference, and it was about the use of AI for road safety. So all of these AI uses in different verticals need first a definition of a standard terms so that we all speak of the same topic in the same definition. Then an elaboration of some use cases of those technology of AI in that domain, and then specific standards and regulation to allow us to move forward in a safer manner, if you will, towards using of AI generally.
Thank you for that. We have just under 2 minutes left. Nabil, I wanted to ask you about an amazing initiative that you're currently working on that will enable more than 25,000 women in emerging markets to join the field of data and AI over the next 5 years. Can you, sorry we left it till the end, but can you touch on a little bit on how that's coming along?
I think the main pillar of, or the enabler for Vision 2030 is the inclusions for the whole task force that we have in place. I think they were a big partner on that development, and if you see if you go, last month I went to some universities and I see an amazing work. Some brilliant ladies, they do some excellent work about some application that can be used in AI, and now the government are adopting some of those solutions and try to leverage that level to that part. I think the level of commitment and passion that we are seeing, even about all the initiatives that we did, we need to do more, because still there we have a vast talent that we have a place within the country. And I think that we have a huge opportunity, and it's like golden mine, that every time that we have surprises, and positive surprises actually, about what are this young generation that they can do. And even if you see the government apps, you see the number of tweaks make the experience of the individual about that application much better. People behind it are young ladies and young guys doing that part and that work. I think we all work in the same goal and the same objective. We need to do more and more. All what we did, still great, but we need to invest more on that part, because this is the real oil that we need to have in place, and this is the real investment that we need in place. And inshallah, with the partnership with the private sector, we will be able to reach to that point, inshallah, in the future.
Inshallah, inshallah. Any closing comments before we break for lunch?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, great insight and an amazing day to talk about an important topic. Maybe the one last area that I'll leave you with, I think we should be really excited what tomorrow looks like. We shouldn't worry about what's going to happen. We will always be inquisitive. We will always find a way to adapt to the evolving technology introduction of AI. However, at the same time, I think we really need to be cautious about the evolution of AI, and not to forget that we have to consider the ethics that comes with AI and the biases that the data sets could present. So while I'm optimistic, but I think we all have responsibility to ensure that this technology evolve in the appropriate guardrails and inclusion across the world.
Very well said. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. Thank you very much, Bilal, who joined us via Zoom. Much appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our panel.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.